Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is January 24th, 2023, and today is Tuesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, gold pushes higher and soars above 1940. But first, looking at the major economic events of today. So starting out at 10:15 South African time, out of France, we have services PMI numbers coming out, and then 10:30 out of Germany, services and manufacturing PMI numbers coming out, and then at 11:30 out of Great Britain, both services and manufacturing PMI numbers coming out. Now looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, we're watching the major pairs pretty much taper off versus the US dollar. We're looking at the indices. The Dow Jones gains while the NASDAQ soars. But first, looking at commodities, gold pushing higher, as mentioned before, oil unchanged. And looking at the stocks, Facebook was the one that is trending higher. I rarely say that. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin clearing 23K. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. We're looking at the Euro USD. And as a pair that has just been very strong, we did capitulate the 109-ish level, and sure enough, we sold off. Not a big sell-off, but we did sell off, and now we're making and inching our way back. Now, this is to be expected as the markets have really gotten stronger versus the US dollar as the dollar has gotten weaker. Now, looking at the GBP USD also did retrace, as mentioned before, and also making its little way back, okay, but it's normal. Okay, the reason I say it's normal is because it's at the top of the range, it's at resistance, so on and so forth, and so many other reasons. And the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both got much stronger yesterday, making the dollar a little bit weaker, so that created this kind of influx. Now, looking at commodities, let's take a look at gold, because that has been the one. 1940 clearing, okay, all the way to clear 1940 is a big deal. We were trading as close as 1938 yesterday, but that's a roundup number that's important to note because this keeps on going higher, okay? It keeps on trending upwards, okay? This is an upwards trend. And you can see that quite clearly because the sell-offs are followed with less volume, and the trending higher is followed by bigger volume. So that is clearly money moving into gold because of the inflationary environment that we're currently in. Now, looking at crude oil, see, we're trading sideways, okay, not trading higher, and this means we may correct here at $82-ish, $81, and we will retrace, okay, so just keep that in mind as this is topping out at these levels as well. Now, looking at the U.S. markets, okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Remember, the NASDAQ was always the not so strong, showing tremendous weakness, was the first one to go down at any kind of bounce, never bounce. But sure enough, it's changing character right now. This is really important because Intel came out with good earnings yesterday and numbers were good. Microsoft coming out with earnings today, that's an important event, okay? So this is all coming together at the same time. 11,923, we pushed higher. Okay, so this is really very interesting. We haven't been on these levels for quite some time, and we're getting close to a 200-day moving average, okay, which is really very important. So keep that in mind as this is digesting what's going on in the markets. The Dow Jones also had an extension yesterday of another 200 to 300 points, but then tapered off and now is trading at 33,720, but still pretty strong. Now looking at those individual stocks, okay, so Intel, look at that. A nice big pivot move it up yesterday from $28 up to $30. That's a nice move on the upside for Intel. That's not a big, that's not an easy stock to push that far up. Okay, but that's an important. Now looking at Facebook also, look at that. 143 breaking higher, okay, looking like it's coming back from the brinks of disaster, and sure enough, breaking above that 200-day moving average. It's getting closer to that 200-day moving average on a longer time frame, and sure enough, we broke the 30-day moving average on a weekly. Okay, so that's also very important note to keep that in mind. At this stage, if we continue, we could hit that next 153-ish resistance. Okay, that's my next resistance-ish level on the upside here. So this still does have upside potential as it's getting stronger on the upside. Now looking at Bitcoin, cleared 23,000, cleared it, and holding above it. Okay, now this doesn't mean that it's not going to correct itself. It just means that it's relatively strong and is resilient And so I'd think twice before I short this at this level, thinking, oh, it's, you know, topped out here. Okay. Like I said before, you want to play the momentum and you don't want to fight this. Okay. Especially on the upside, because we know how farther up it can go. So keep that in mind as this is making its way back. Okay. From the brinks of, you know, disaster, call it, or brinks of just memory lane. So this is something that is still developing. Just keep an eye on it. I mean, yes, we do have still resistance until 24,000, but if we push about 24,500, 29,000 is to 30K is your next real resistance. Okay, so keep that in mind as we're looking at this as well. This is Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.